Right, this video is a demonstration. When you're dealing with power dynamics and you're making sure that people in charge whose scalps are attached to a situation know that their scalps are worth as much as the children that they just put at risk, and that is the bottom line. The power dynamics in the situation tip overnight. You feel like you've been against the wall for ages and ages and ages, and then all of a sudden everything tips. Right, I am going to describe Mermaids Gender UK. Mermaids Gender UK are a very, very deeply concerning charity who should be nowhere near children, who present several problems which indicate that they currently pose risk to children. First of all, the owner of the charity and her relationship with UK law around contested medical treatment for children, including the relationship with her own son. We'll mention Posey Parker, shall we? Posey Parker used the word castration, which was correct. Mermaids then demonstrated narcissistic patterns of abuse against Posey Parker. This is concerning. Mermaids are currently funded and in schools inducing dysphoria in children and asking that a psychological device that mentally unwell adults use to manage gender dysphoria be applied to children during a period of normal adolescence and childhood. This includes demands that children be medicalised and that we ignore symptoms of sexual abuse. Children who are made vulnerable by not being neurotypical are people who are made vulnerable by their sexuality. Mermaids is entirely about inducing dysphoria in gender non-conforming children and then harming them. Mermaids is part of a wider network of organised abusive males who have just been part of a concerted attack to undermine safeguarding. Primarily, Mermaids is about using and abusing vulnerable children to validate adult identities, and has been validated by media who were not aware of safeguarding. Everybody who currently is connected to Mermaids, I would have a damn good look at them, and the reasons that a High Court judge had to issue a public warning about work that was done with them. To demand that an adult psychological device be imposed on vulnerable children so that those children can be medicalised, harmed, groomed, so that abusive males can be given access to them, and to demand that safeguarding around those children be liquidated and that children be asked to be taught that their boundaries are not theirs. That's basically paedophile rights. Mermaids Gender need examination. I do not fear libel or defamation. Mermaids Gender should not be in schools. If you find out that your child is in school and Mermaids Gender have been in, I would find out what they have been saying. There is no basis in evidence for anything that Mermaids Gender says, and everything that they do is deeply harmful to children. They currently are repeated uncritically in The Guardian, saying that basic safeguarding is a threat to identity and the equivalent of apartheid. The correct response when somebody says that safeguarding is a threat to their identity and limits them is to ask which part of their identity it threatens and what it limits them in doing. Mermaids Gender and the network of organisations around them, including Stonewall, need urgent examination. This is much, much, much bigger than Kids Company. And if you don't believe me about Kids Company, you ask Chris Cook, who was saying about Kids Company miles before anybody else. This is major as fuck.
So what's going